Over the last several months, one of the top news stories worldwide, and for good reason, has been the Ebola outbreak in Western Africa, which has transferred to other countries, including Nigeria and Saudi Arabia, although right now they seem to have been able to stamp out any repeat affected people from the virus, but now shifted to the United States, with a recent announcement that a second nurse that treated a sick patient from West Africa has been diagnosed with the Ebola virus. Now, I'm just going to go out on a limb right here and say Ebola is the first disease that I've seen in 10 years plus in news, radio, and in journalism that has actually caused me to pause and has scared me at some level. I'm not going to lie to you. Swine flu did nothing for me. I really thought that was a lot to do about nothing and a lot more media hype by people like myself than anything else. Avian flu, the same thing. SARS, the same thing. Even though these diseases were airborne diseases, easily spread, had extremely high survivability rates. Ebola is different. Ebola is the closest disease that I can compare to the Black Death that swept through Europe and Asia, as well as the Spanish flu, which at the turn of the century in the early 1900s killed over 1 million people in the United States and devastated millions more worldwide. Now, I'm not saying we're there yet. I'm saying the potential is there with Ebola. And I think the CDC and other healthcare professionals in this country need to wise up because we've been late to the ball game. Now, a lot of people might wonder, where did this disease even come from? Well, Ebola was first discovered in the early 1960s. It's named Ebola because of the river near a village in Zaire, present-day Congo, or the Republic of the Congo, where the disease was found. Basically, it was a mission station with Christian missionaries that were both teaching and living within the village where this disease was discovered. Many of them began to die. In fact, the first epidemiologists, those that study diseases, when they arrived to the village, were not allowed in. The priest simply told them, we're all going to die here, and nobody else should come in here. They'll die too. That was the discovery of Ebola. Now, since then, there have been over 100 outbreaks of this disease in Africa. But this is the first time in West Africa. And although a child's name is unknown, a child is considered patient zero, an 8-year-old boy that died in December of 2013 in a small village in Guinea, in Africa, is believed to be patient zero. That one case, and we're not sure how we got it. Scientists' best theory is it was transferred over from animals. Probably bats is one of their best guess. They believe bats can carry it and in fact are not infected by it. But it could be from monkeys. It could have been from a lizard. We're talking about a part of West Africa where frankly anything that crawls or walks in the woods can be considered food. And if you're injured handling it, if it's not cooked right, there's the possibility again of this fluid's transfer. But that gets me back to what I'm talking about with the CDC. It started with that one patient in 2013, a part of Africa where the Ebola virus had not been seen before. Everyone was late to the game, even Doctors Without Borders and everyone that tried their best. It was probably 16 weeks, almost 3 months after patient zero, before the world realized Ebola was the culprit for why these people were dying in this country. And by then it had spread to Sierra Leone, it had spread to Liberia, it had gotten to the capital of Liberia, Monrovia, which is where the numbers exploded. Right now, as we're filming this, only 2 people are sick with Ebola in the United States. But the CDC, I think, has been sitting on their hands for far too long. We have known of infectious diseases, like the ones I named, SARS, swine flu, avian flu, that have threatened us before. And yet, we're acting like we're surprised about this disease. We're acting like we're surprised it's come to our borders. How long have epidemiologists and other healthcare professionals that study diseases said it's only a matter of time before some pandemic comes and affects the human race and human population? You know why? Because we're probably overpopulated. Chronic wasting disease, any of these other diseases a lot of animal herds have and that we know of locally in Minnesota happen in densely populated areas. Is this what's happening now? I don't know. But all I'm saying is that the CDC should have been more prepared for this. Instead of spending money on wasteful spending on different types of programs for special interest groups, why don't you focus on something that could have world-dominating effect? Ebola is always known to be deadly. There are a couple things in favor in the United States with this. There's a couple things that could be against us. The point is we'll have to stay tuned. And I hope by the time you see this, we don't have many more Americans infected. But it's clear, even in the United States of America, we're not 100% immune from this, which means no one is.